Alrighty then. Here's the moment of truth. This is the first generation 18650 mechanism. Okay. And we'll plug this in to this Garmin GPS, and we'll turn on the first model. And there we have that happening. Okay, there's been no scripting, no pre-testing. Okay, we're going to plug this in. We're going to install a battery. And we're going to go for it. And nothing. Let's try a different battery. And nothing. Okay. Well, usually I inspect a board before I do such a thing. So let's double check here. And something. Okay, that's what it's supposed to look like. So I'll get back with you. So here's a standard battery bank, and we'll plug this guy in. And you can see the Garmin light up. So now let's take our new battery bank and we'll plug it into this device, and it appears that the charger is working, or at least operational. And so now let's, under those same conditions, oh, look at that. Can't plug that in and the charger at the same time. Notice that by just initiating the charging cycle, something connected, and it appears like we're good to go. Let's take a look at the voltage. So we're looking at 508 volts, and we're putting out 200 to 300 milliamps for the Garmin. I've seen this triggering issue before with this particular circuit. Not quite sure what that's about, but it's like you almost have to apply power externally to charge up some capacitors or whatever internal to the circuitry, and then it allows that to work. So let's turn this off, and now let's turn it back on. And there's our Garmin. Here, let's do that again. Off, on. When the battery went out in this Garmin, I ended up pulling it out. I tried to use the micro USB connector here, and it turned out that that was long term, that's just a crappy connector. So I took this thing apart and pulled pulled some wires out and put a little board in with a micro USB connector. One kind of like this. Maybe later on I'll do a video on these little tiny boards you can make. So I put that inside the device, and now I can use the standard USB-B connector, micro USB-B, and use it to charge. Now, besides this tickling phenomena, if you want to call it that, there also seems to be an issue. I had one capacitor that I failed to solder onto the other side once I tacked it down. So that's also a potential problem. So here's another thing I'm going to do. I'm going to pull this out, remove the measuring circuitry, and see if perchance we can charge and use the battery at the same time. And there's not quite enough space between that connector. I got it in, but it was, notice that it's kind of squampus. So in Rev 3 of this board, I'm probably going to move this A connector that way just a hair, enough so that you can both use the battery and charge the battery at the same time. So let's see what our external charger is putting out. And it's 200 to 300 milliamps. Let's see if we can get that in there. So it's definitely charging the battery from one battery bank and powering the GPS from that battery bank. Okay, let's do some really weird stuff. Let's pull this battery out. Okay, that goes dead, huh? Let's put in a weaker battery. I think this one was measured at 3.15 volts. This one was 4.15. In fact, let's go ahead and measure the battery voltage. And we're at 308, 309. So we'll get back after this is charged up, and we'll draw the final conclusions. Let's take this commercial battery bank and put in the one made from the BPTCA 122510 from battery hookup. We'll go ahead and plug that in. And we'll use that one for charging. That should be interesting. And let's go ahead and put a couple of alligator clips. So we can measure battery voltage. Let's go ahead and zero this thing. And we'll see how much we can get out of this battery in possibly a partially charged condition. Once you start charging batteries and using them, it's easy to lose track as to what's new and what's not. So I'll get back to you.